Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you for joining me for the second installment of TomTom TV Live. With me today, I have Jason Wise. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So Jason is an extremely prolific songwriter. He's got a lot of interesting things to say, especially about the music you're about to hear. And I do have my YouTube stream chat up, so I'll be checking it periodically. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. I'll do it when I can, because actually for this performance I'll be playing along with Jason, so it's going to be an interesting experience. So I thought we'd just start right off with a song. So can you talk about this first song? And just,
Yeah, this song is called The Living Tree. It's from an album I've been working on for a very long time, and I don't know when it will be released. But you played on the album. Other people have played on the album. It's a good country type album. It has a bunch of different little phases and transitions. And The Living Tree, yeah, it's kind of a mystical, fun little song.
all right, so here we go.
On the living tree, on the living tree, you know that nothing bothers me. On the living tree, come on and ride the jet plane. What do you want for Christmas? We'll talk about the old times and we'll reminisce the old times. We should be together, we should be together. We should be together, we should be together. On the living tree, on the living tree, you know that nothing bothers me. On the living tree, come on and ride the jet plane. What do you want for Christmas? We'll talk about the old times and we'll reminisce the old times. Come on and get some sunshine. 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 I'm just asking, what if there's a bigger world? I'm just asking, what if there's a bigger world? Don't you want to be out on the extreme, fulfilling every dream, a part of every scene? Don't you want to go as far as it can go? Let everybody know how I love you so. I'm just asking, what if there's a bigger world? I'm just asking, what if there's a bigger world? Don't you want to be out on the extreme, fulfilling every dream, part of every scene? Don't you want to go as far as it can go? Let everybody know how I love you so.
Awesome. I love that song.
Thanks.
Good man. Reminds me of when we did all those recordings at your home studio. And I know you've been doing that as long as I've known you. No matter
Yeah.
where you are, you have a home studio rig. So when did you get started in that whole black hole of...
Yeah, I got my first home studio. It started with an 8-track that didn't really work too well, and then I got an ADAT 8-track machine in 7th grade. So this was probably like 1996 or 1997. So just recording in my parents' basement with my friends, you know, every day,
part of that.
all weekend.
Sometimes.
And you as well, you know, you've been down in that basement recording a lot as well.
And at your farmhouse now, you're living in...
Yeah, living on a farm and recording there as well too. It's a different kind of feel, you know. Back in my parents' basement, that's a really kind of classic, wonderful place to make music that I can just really come up with ideas there.
My mom's basement.
Yeah,
Recording in my mom's basement.
just like every other musician. And
you're right.
And now living out on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and that's kind of where this whole Living Tree song and the Atlantic album came from. The Eastern Shore.
That's really cool. And I know that I used that video in the promo where you recorded outside of the farmhouse doing that song. And I think what really awesome is the sounds of the birds and the breeze and you singing that song that really, I think, added so much to it. Just the fact that you were connected outside in nature. And it seems like such a good environment to become inspired in.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's extremely inspiring. And just hearing all these birds and all these different sounds, I don't know if they made it onto the album, but they made it into that video, and they definitely influenced me for those songs.
So I guess my first
being
question...
being by the water too. Really.
Oh yeah, I know. I've always wanted to live by the water. It's something definitely. It feels like kind of like the ether, just the way the water and the waves come at you. It's kind of like you tap into that type of feeling. Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, what was your original inspiration for making music? Did you start off playing guitar, or did you kind of jump in a different way?
I mean, pretty much, yeah. I guess originally I wanted to play drums, and I got a snare drum, but I didn't get a whole set, and then so that didn't work out. But I think Guns N' Roses, seeing Slash play, I was extremely influenced by Slash at the age of 8. So I started playing guitar at 8, and Slash and Bob Marley. So yeah, that's what I was into when I was 8, and there was nothing else to do at the time. You know, the internet wasn't around, so I just practiced all day, just played constantly till my fingers bled.
I'm sure that's a huge distraction. I mean, ever since that kind of came to the forefront, it became such a big distraction for a lot of people that could have potentially created so much, but just it's such a time waster. Just to think of how much time you could be, working on your craft or writing a song or, seeing what kind of sandwich people ate for lunch. It's very difficult actually not to. It's just hard to avoid it.
Right.
So it's good, I guess, to be in a time before that was big and you're able to, not that you've never been that much into it, you've always kind of been, making music and doing your own thing.
Yeah, I'm glad I grew up when I did, though. Especially just with MTV and everything going on and the whole grunge thing and just being a little kid when that was all around. It was just a very influential sort of time. So that's when MTV was really good. And and it was actually, I think, probably a lot harder to make music than it, you had to really be able to play, and recording was difficult. And one of my things that we've always done is sort of doing everything as much as possible. I mean, playing together, we don't do many takes, do we?
No, but that's the thing I like about the recording. A lot of the recordings that you have, there's an organic nature to it. And for me personally, being such a perfectionist, a lot of times when I go to record music, I'm never happy with it, and I end up doing so many different takes of it. And I think in some ways the end result's kind of lacking. That I mean, certain imperfection that people, I think some people crave. I kind of crave it in music, is being able to hear like flaws, being able to hear, it's imperfect, but that makes it more engaging, I feel.
There's also too many options these days. That's just with a computer plug-in or whatever. There's just so many options, and you'll just be constantly trying to get the best sound or the best patch, and that just, you didn't have all those options then too.
And in some ways that's a plus too. You have what you have. Mm-hmm. You have that synth sound, so you got to make something out of it. You can't pick between 8 million. You can get lost in it.
And so, another thing was, I got a synth, and it's just trying to break it as much as possible, finding the glitches. I was always about trying to, how does this work, and how could I make this glitch? It was always pressing all these buttons and then making all these glitches, and those are the sounds that I really liked. Yeah,
and we'll get into that later. I want to do another song, but I want to get into like your different phases and the different types of music you have. It's so much. It's overwhelming, the amount of material you have. And I don't even know how much you have not released. Like what you have sitting around on hard drives waiting to come out, as opposed to what, all the stuff that you have put out right now.
Yeah, I still have, and it's been a couple years of just preserving it all, and yeah, I've got a lot of old, I just digitized all my old ADAT machines, so gosh, that's few more albums too of really old little Jason stuff.
That'd be awesome for you to put out.
Yep.
All right, so talk about this next song, just a little introduction, what we're about to...
Okay, yeah, this song is called Summer Rain. This will also be on the Atlantic if it ever gets released. And this is just, it's just a pop song. Sometimes you just like to write a happy, nice pop song about girls and history. I don't know.
Girls and history. The two go hand in hand, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, anyway, here we go.
Violent storm is going to pass through. I did everything you didn't ask to. It's amazing how much pressure I can take. Elegant arms in a neon backlist, in a town full of prime meridians, on a cloud where the angels play feckless. Department store people make the best mannequins. I could run circles around you, boy. Summer rain, we need summer rain, though it's a shame. We need more summer rain. Communists always make the worst tourists. Charles de Gaulle had the gall to call a spade in 1944. Useful idiots are all around me, and I'm so glad that you never find me. Eat crow, and then you'll grow. Summer rain, we need summer rain, though it's a shame. We need more summer rain. Summer rain, we need summer rain, though it's a shame. We need more summer rain. Summer rain, summer rain, summer rain, summer rain.
Very cool.
That song's also about summer rain.
And I know I asked you about the inspiration of that song, and you said it was summer. Is it raining? Summer rain.
It rained nice summer rain right after I wrote it while I was playing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you didn't say that part.
Oh, I'm saving it for the interview.
Wow, that's pretty good. Very good, very good. So I know that you were mentioning how you like to do pop type songs, and I just wanted to say that, just for the record, I gave Jason one of these Wise Orange drinks, and he liked it. He liked it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I did all right.
It's amazing.
But again, if you're good at actually making drinks, it would be awesome, because I like to pair each show with a drink that just describes the band. And Jason said he felt orange soda. Like, what do you feel when you think of orange soda? Like,
well, orange was always my favorite color, and I think it's the tastiest of all colors. And
it is.
you know, and I used to drink a ton of orange soda all the time. So, and the hint of vanilla too, I really appreciate.
Yeah, like a little creamsicle action.
Yes, yes, yes.
All
Oh,
right.
and also, you know, it's like soda pop, and it's
Just
just
pop.
orange soda is like pop music.
And Ashley calls it pop. She's always called. She grew up in Pittsburgh, and they always called it pop. I never did.
Me neither.
It was, you know, as our relationship went on, I learned. She's like, "Hey, can you give me some pop?" Like, what the soda? You know, soda.
So much
Carbonated
better than
beverage.
saying soda.
It is. It is soda pop. All right. So I did want to talk about kind of your progression through your albums. One thing that I mentioned and that I find interesting is that really no two albums that you have sound in the same vein. It's like you explore a different avenue each time. So can I talk about your progression as you know, obviously we're playing stuff that you're kind of into now, but let's just kind of talk about what kind of albums did you start writing, and then where you ended up here.
Okay, I'm glad you sort of picked up on that. In some ways, I feel like I have to invent every new song as a different style. I have to. It's just some way I can't. You know, a lot of they have some consistency. And the idea of a concept album, I've always liked concept albums, and I just started writing concept albums. But my first album was with my friends in middle school, and we did Polyester. And we did an album called American Barbecue, and we were sort of like the Talking Heads, and we loved George Clinton. It was a funk record, and gosh, we just practiced a lot, and it was pretty wild. And I'll put that out sometime.
Yeah.
And then I kept doing, music with my best friend Steven, and then we also kept doing music. So then my other first real album, sort of just me, but Steven's throughout the whole thing too, was Ours the Room. I did that when I was like 13. And it was kind of when Beck was around doing a lot of folk and sampled hip-hop sort of beats, so it's kind of has that kind of thing. And later in high school, I did a really super emo, depressing album called Leaving Room for Aesthetic Space, which is a really folk emo album. I moved to Boston for college for 1 year. I did an album. I called it the College Album. That's another really folky emo album. And then after that, I moved back to Maryland, and I met Josh, and we started Kid Tiger.
Yeah.
And with Kid Tiger, just me and Josh, we're on the exact same level, and we did this album, Future Umbrella. Really, really high concept album. This was back in, I guess, 2002. Some ways was very sort of predictive of the sort of technological culture we were sort of headed in. So that's a strange album. Moving on to then our next album was Why I Love You, which you played on too, and that was more of like our rock record.
Yeah.
A lot of great songs that Josh did, and we great songs that we wrote, like A Hole in One and Darlene Bouquet, all those. Rebel Forces was after that with Kid Tiger, and that was a really strange, crazy album that I think you played on a bit too.
I was on. Yeah, I was smattered around. If you look at the discs, occasionally you see my name on there. A couple songs at least.
Oh yeah, we did. Then we did a double album called How Weird County, That's our concept album about growing up in Howard County. That's our double album, and it's really folky. After that, I just kept on kind of doing my own stuff again. Huggable Luggage, which was the really, really pop record. I feel.
I love the name of that.
And Josh
Huggable
actually
Luggage.
came up with the name for that.
Yeah.
And that was just channeling all of my sort of Michael Jackson 80s. I was very influenced by roller skating around at the Supreme Sports Club when I was a kid, roller skating and listening to the music, and it was a lot of early 90s pop dance music. And I kept always wondering, like, how do they make all these sounds? I heard about a sequencer. What's a sequencer?
Dangerous words.
It took me a very long time to figure out what a sequencer was and start programming. There's some programming on that using this silly program called SoundCloud, you know. And Love After All and Love Hereafter was our, you know, country follow-up, you know, which you play on a lot of that, Unexpected Guest. And
That's one of my favorite songs, I must admit. Whenever we hang out, I always want to play that song.
it's fun to play.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That opens up with Frederick, you know. That
Also,
song,
awesome
Frederick.
song. Yeah.
About my love of Frederick and the Frederikians.
Frederikians? Is that
Yeah,
Frederikians?
that's what we used to call all the kids that used to hang out in Frederick and watch us play.
Nice.
And they're all basically in Baltimore now.
They've migrated.
Yes.
They've invaded Baltimore.
Experimental music galore rivaling the streets of Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then it's just even more albums. A lot of B-side albums, too. The Mysterious Gulch, I think, was a pretty good pop follow-up to Huggable Luggage. And, yep.
So I'm going to make sure that when this stream goes out as a video for you to watch, in the description I'll put a link to the Bandcamp page.
Yeah.
So you can take a look at all those, and it's a lot of stuff to look through. And I always enjoy just kind of roaming through the site sometimes and taking a listen to so many different things, you know.
A lot of just, you know, when I couldn't write pop songs anymore, sometimes I get writer's block, then I would make electronic albums and noise albums. So there's a lot of instrumental stuff, electronic stuff too.
Well, what about the what's the name of the one with where you took the movie soundtracks and chopped them up?
Okay, yeah, I did that last summer. That was called A Long Kiss Goodnight, and I bought 100 sci-fi movie DVD collection, and I had my trusty Roland SP808 sampler, and just sampled a lot of it. You know, it's kind of that whole cut-up thing, and I was hoping a sort of concept would sort of emerge out of it, and I mean, with all of these different narratives of these different sci-fi movies I was grabbing from, a sort of weird, to me it seemed like a real concept sort of emerged of this young couple sort of making out at make-out point or whatever, you know, in their car, and then there's an alien invasion, and what happens. So that's the narrative I put to that.
So I noticed when listening to your music that I think there's a bunch of stuff that could lend itself to being a score, you know, and so what experience have you had as far as working with visual creators, as far as, you know, taking your music and adapting it for visual media?
Yeah, that is just all my relationship with Mr. Oz, who I met in 9th grade in high school, and we were at this prep school and hated it, and we were sort of these outcasts, and he used to dying in different scenarios during class.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I really appreciate it. I mean, just the most creative person. And, you know, I also met his sister on the exact same day, and we're still all both, you know, he said, I think it was something like, you know, oh, I met this cool guy, Jason, and then his sister said, oh, I met this cool guy, Jason, too, or whatever, you know, but I, you know, very close to both of them. So he's, you know, Mr. Oz is a brilliant claymation filmmaker. You know, he had his Mr. Oz show, which was a sketch comedy show. We had lost touch, but I had heard that he'd been using a lot of my or our music and Kid Tiger's music on his sketch comedy show. And we reconnected, and I've been doing most of his music for all of his animations sort of ever since. So he has my entire catalog, which I don't know how many hours that is, but he will sometimes grab little bits and little pieces. Some things I don't even remember making.
It makes it work. Like,
yeah.
It seems to magically dovetail into what he's doing.
Yeah, so if you watch Mr. Oz's stuff, you know, I'm doing the music to it. I really feel like the the Danny Elfman, his Tim Burton in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been a really, really nice relationship, and people always ask us like, well, is the video? Are you writing the music to the video?
Yeah, I asked you. Yeah, I asked that as well. I was curious if he sent you the footage and you created around it, but no.
Really never do. He will give me sort of a direction that I will go on, and somehow it matches up. It's amazing. It's just like synced up. And we spent 2 years working on a film together that has since been banned.
That's a whole story.
Yeah.
To itself. But what's is his website? Is it just mroz.com?
He's going by now a lot of. You can go and search for the Mr. Oz show.
Yeah.
And also on YouTube, Tales of Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's his sort of thing. It takes a lot of solitude to make that much claymation. He's a machine at that.
Yeah, if you're into that stuff, if you like the claymation work, he's kind of a genius. I mean, the stuff that he's able to do by himself, I mean, that stuff takes a huge amount of time and effort.
Yeah.
And he makes the most amazing effects, like he had a giant, operation, but he's just doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it would take an entire team of people to do what he does. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I could never figure it out, but it's definitely good stuff, and recommend that you check it out. So, so we should do another song?
Yeah, you want to?
Sure. What's this next one?
This is Fox Fur and Kid Tiger. We reunited back in 2011 and recorded an album called Lamb. That's our latest. And that's from this album. It's another kind of country folky song.
All right.
Yeah. Where have all the good days gone? I'm standing under the barrel of a loaded gun. Real fox fur here, and the transfer is so very near. You're gonna wake up in the morning and you know that'll be alright. You're gonna wake up in the morning and you know that'll be alright, love. You're gonna sound with the sun, with the beautiful stars in your eyes. You're gonna make it to the movies, and then you're gonna go out. Real politic here, and the transfer is so very clear. Where have all the good days gone? I'm just smoking a cigarette and sitting out on the lawn. You're gonna wake up in the morning and you know that'll be alright. You're gonna wake up in the morning and you know that'll be alright, love. You're gonna sound with the sun, with the beautiful stars in your eyes. You're gonna make it to the movies and then you're gonna go da-da-da.
Awesome.
Sounding good.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, next question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're creating a song, and I know it's different for everybody. When, as far as when you get an idea or inspiration for a song, is there a given a common thread of process that you find involved, like that you notice in your creation of songs? Like, is there like a?
Yeah.
I mean, I know some people just the song is there, and however you get it there.
Mm-hmm. It sort of is. It comes as like a little inkling. It just an idea or something pops into my head, and then it's just running to write down the lyric or get a guitar or just record it because I will forget it. These are things that just kind of pass through my head that I just kind of have to grab and hopefully get. I probably, forgotten a lot of good songs too, or was never able to get to that stage of being able to actually write them down. So, yeah.
I noticed around, at least when I was when visited you at your parents' house, I always noticed there was a notebook somewhere, like a scrap of paper or a notebook that just had lyrics in it. So sometimes you just get that idea and you're just writing.
Mm-hmm. If I can get that capture at least whatever the melody or the song idea lyric is, and be able to write it down or somehow record it, then I can maybe flesh out the whole song.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I know also with, but like you said, like your electronic music is kind of like a transition where you can be more free form. I mean, I know that you and I had kind of dabbled a bit, where just kind of with the equipment, you're able to have that flow where it's not like premeditated ideas. It's just stuff kind of comes out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between sort of like the pop folk songs I write and then the electronic stuff, because those melodies don't come all the time.
Yeah.
And I think even a melody like A Hole in One or Darlene Bouquet are just some great melodies that are very hard to replicate again. So the electronic stuff, I just dabble and experiment, and just, and we do that too, just experiment, make up beats. It's that kind of stuff I can kind of do anytime I want, I guess, if you're in the right frame of mind. You can always pick up a drum machine and start messing around with it and making loops, and it's a different style or type of music, I sort of feel like.
Definitely. So you said that the electronic music could sometimes break a creative block. Is there any other thing that you found, maybe changing location, going somewhere, putting yourself in a different situation? I know there was for a time you lived in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Did that provide any type of, that atmosphere provide any inspiration for?
Sort of when I'm actually really around a whole bunch of people doing it and a whole scene and stuff, I don't actually get much inspiration from it.
Kind of getting sucked out.
I don't know. I did do, I was living in that dingy basement, and I did get an album out of that, and that was all electronic stuff that I could just kind of do anytime. That was called Invasion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I haven't been writing as much lately because, I've been doing some other things. I'll always be able to come back to it, but that's why The Atlantic is taking so long. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I mean, that's something that I played a pretty big role in, and some other people I know. Shiloh is a part of it. He's watching right now.
Oh, Shiloh!
Yeah, gonna give a shout out. He's gonna be playing here.
Oh my gosh!
A couple of weeks, but yeah. So there's a lot of collaboration there. So what's going on with that album?
Yeah, it's just a really organic album. I mean, I wrote much of it, by the river or something, by the water. And then it was a whole collaborative experience. Sometimes I'm working on albums and it's just me all by myself doing all the parts. And this is kind of a folk, kind of sounds like Kinks, Muswell Hillbillies or something like that. And so we wanted live instruments for everything. We didn't want electronic drums for this. We wanted live drums, So we got you. I got Shiloh, and people might not know it, but he's one of the best honky-tonk piano players.
I'm gonna probably get him to do some of that. I don't think he's gonna want to, but I think he can do this awesome stride piano stuff. It's like Jerry Lee Lewis style. He could get his foot up there, like jam his foot on the keyboard.
Yes.
The guy's nuts.
So, Shiloh, piano playing is through the entire album, and I really want to have that as a central focus. Some current 93 albums, they have a lot of piano very, very up in front. And, it's just an acoustic-y kind of album with piano all the way through, Drums. I would love to start playing this stuff live. I got to write out the charts so we can all play, and we need a bass player. But, it's just kind of good old country music. It's from a different time. I guess it was mainly recorded in, 2014. But it'll probably sound, still kind of country and old and antiquated whenever it comes out. It'll probably still have a certain sound. And also, it was recorded on an old Pro Tools system. I loved it when it still had the white screen in the background. I don't like the new Pro Tools, so I recorded on a really old Pro Tools, and we almost lost the entire album.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
Is it the computer crash? Is it the hard drive crashed?
Yeah, but I was able to transfer it into another. So I gotta finish it up in Logic, I guess. But I wish that old Pro Tools Digi 001, 002 was still around. I still think it sounds the best. That's what Kid Tiger did all of our recordings on.
So do you find when it comes to, that brings up another good topic, when it comes to actually mixing your own creations and mastering your own creations, sometimes, I mean, that just doesn't have a real set time period, does it? I mean, it just could take for a long time to get that sound just right. Do you find that you're very particular about when you hear the song, it's got to come out just that perfect way? You know what I mean?
There was something about the Pro Tools system that at a certain level you just knew it was right and it was done. Mm-hmm. And even I use Logic Pro 9, and there's something about that. It's like you kind of know when it's done. The mastering part I hate and I can't do. My stuff isn't really up to industry standards, Still, all this music is not on any record label, and I'm still just, an unsigned artist. But, yeah, at least for me, you got, like I was saying, you can have too many options. You got to just be like it at some point, it just kind of has to be done. I don't know. I don't know when it is. It's a magical moment. You don't even realize it. But just like you put these songs together on a playlist, and it's like, oh, this is a whole album. Sometimes I don't even realize that I'd even been really working on an album until I gather songs together and they all fit together. But yeah, at some point it just has to be done. I feel like, even though if you're perfectionist, sometimes it might even not be your favorite. There might be something wrong with that particular mix a little bit, but you still like that one more for some reason.
And I think it probably can be tough. Like I don't know a whole lot about like the big music industry and labels, but it very much seems like in order to kind of get your foot in the door, you have to have kind of a brand, and like, this is my stuff. This all sounds this way. This is my stamped sound that people consider. That's a product that people buy consistently. At least that's what I think. Mm-hmm. That it's difficult. It's difficult when you have so many talents in so many different directions. I imagine that can make it a little difficult to move forward with that.
Yeah, I
don't know if you
mean,
agree or,
well, when I started out, and then it just wasn't the cool thing everyone was doing. Like, they get GarageBand and form a band, and 3 months later they're really, really popular. I mean, when I made an album, my first album and second album, I'm like, well, who do I give this to? Who do I send this to? There weren't many bands out really doing a home recording. I sent it to Merge. I sent my first album to Merge when I was 13, and I got a nice little rejection letter. And that's about all I've done. I don't know. It's just something about I'm just writing the songs. It takes me a long time to just make sure I don't lose any of the stuff I've recorded. I mean, like my first album, I didn't listen to for 20 years after I recorded it for some reason. And then I was lucky to find it on a DAT machine. I think that Kid Tiger was pretty influential in our little niche, but have we really gotten popular or big? No, and I don't. Music is really about there's a lot of careerism involved, and it's like it has to be this career, and I don't even like it. This is kind of just like my emotional thing, and this is just what I do. So I guess I just think of myself more as an outsider artist. If people eventually listen, I would love people to hear it, but I don't know if I could even handle a lot of becoming big or whatever. I don't know if I could even handle it.
But and also, I mean, nowadays it seems like that the power there's a lot more power in our hands individually to really self-create, self-promote, and put yourself like even doing this is a smaller scale,
right?
Something where you increase your visibility online, and kind of develop something. And it also appears to me that record labels like to pick up artists that are already making money to where they're just kind of jumping on board. Like they want to see that you have a successful product, and then they go, okay, yeah, we'll take some of that.
Yeah, and I'm still just ingrained in this sort of don't think anyone will listen to it sort of thing. So I guess I haven't really ran after wanting to sound like everyone else either.
And it kind of takes away from the real purpose of the music, and it may tarnish it, and you don't want to add anything artificial to what you have coming out.
A lot of bands, I would say underground bands, are sounding more and more like pop bands, sounding like mainstream bands, and I've always liked that underground bands should sound experimental and underground, and it's not as much like that. It's there's different ways to being picked up and being interested, for Pitchfork to like you or whatever, which I don't know. I don't like a lot of the music around today. I guess I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm sure you're not alone. You're not alone. A lot of people, I think there's a lot of people I personally know too that aren't super huge fans of stuff that comes out because it sounds the same. I mean, miracles can happen with enough money where anybody, if you had enough money, anybody can make an album, have it produced.
I don't like to spend too much money on it. Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? Like, talent can really be purchased.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of really talented people that can sing much better and play much better, and they're also in the whole scene, and it's great. But I don't know where I was even going with that. But I don't know. What's the question? Yeah.
Well, why don't we do another tune?
All right.
So what do you got?
We're going to do a song from Howard County called Light Fun. Are you ready? Okay. Light fun, we're on an escapade out here. What fun, drinking lemonade in the shade out here. Darling, you and me seem to be completely falling in love here. You are a goddess, falling from the starry skies out there. You are a goddess, falling. You are a goddess, fall. Light fun, drinking Chardonnay out on the pier what fun. White wine suits us anytime, my dear darling. You and me seem to be completely falling in love here. You are a goddess, falling from the starry skies out there. You are a goddess, falling. You are a goddess, fall. Do 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 do. To write a song is to polish a diamond. You are a diamond, my hand's in your hand. To write a song is to polish a diamond. You are a diamond, my hand's in your hand. Light fun, isn't this electronic music? Wild, my dear, what fun, what fun. I feel I'm hanging from a chandelier. Darling, you and me seem to be completely falling in love here. You are a goddess, falling from the starry skies out there. You are a goddess, falling. You are a goddess, fall. Do 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 to polish a diamond. You are a diamond, my hand's in your hand. To write a song is to polish a diamond. You are a diamond, my hand's in your hand. My hand's in your hand. My hand's in your hand. My hand's in your hands.
Good stuff.
Sounding good.
Light fun.
Light fun, yes. That's L-I-T-E.
Light, L-I-T-E.
Light fun. I mean, I guess you can have fun with lights, too. That's...
Miller Lite fun.
Yeah, exactly. I like to spell light that way. And it's one of those, overly happy songs that we, like to do positive stuff. And usually I write my most positive, happiest songs when I'm miserably depressed. So that's when Light Fun was written.
I don't know. I think there's some other people that can agree that really the best songs are coming out of a place where you feel horrible.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's just because just so many people just can relate to that feeling of depression and horribleness, that when you write out of that feeling, people can connect right away. Mm-hmm. Even if it's totally happy, that undertone of where it came from, I think is important.
Yeah. I mean, and people have said before, it's like the music seems like so happy and poppy, but then so dark at the exact same time, A lot of the noise stuff. Yeah. So
we're getting ready to wrap up. So we have two more.
Okay.
Right. Let's go ahead and just do those two songs because we're getting close to 7 o'clock. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around.
Thank you, everyone.
And Jason, thank you. It was really a lot of fun having it. It was light fun. More than light fun. Heavy fun. It was heavy fun.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, okay. All right. So next song will be?
This is going to be Stereoland.
Okay.
Another pop happy song. I would say,
good stuff.
Most part. Once I fell into an aquarium, and there wasn't much barium. All the kitties are flying, while their parents are dying. And it's all in a brain trust, which is certainly good for us. A new age shakedown, electronic breakdown. Where do we go? We go to Stereoland. Extend a helping hand. We'll have lots of fun there. Where do we go? We go to Stereoland. Extend a helping hand. We'll have lots of fun there. Get lots of sun there, yeah. There she was, standing on the patio, listening to my stereo, drinking cider, wearing a visor, and nothing's happening, at least as far as I can see. Let's just make love, let's just take love. Where do we go? We go to Stereo Land, extend a helping hand. We'll have lots of fun there. Where do we go? We go to Stereo Land, extend a helping hand. We'll have lots of fun there, get lots of sun there, have lots of fun there, get lots of sun there, yeah.
Beautiful. Another one of my favorites. Cranking out the
You're
hits.
sounding good, man. You're sounding good. I love playing with you.
Yeah, likewise. I need to be able to edit in a little heart shape.
It's
Between
true love. It's all about oatmeal and the broat meal and
That brings me up to a very important point.
yeah.
Did you know that every 15 seconds, a young boy or girl goes without a hot, steaming bowl of oatmeal?
It's true.
Wilford Brimley once said, "Give me a child without oatmeal, and I'll give you."
Don't go there.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah. We're not getting. This is not an oatmeal platform.
Yeah, I almost didn't even make it tonight because I was eating so much oatmeal.
It can be a distracting
Yeah.
pastime.
Yeah.
All right. And what's the last song?
We're gonna do New Light.
New Light.
and
Okay.
a little positive sort of gospel number for y'all.
Here we go.
I see a new light shine. I see a new light shine, shining. I see a new light shine. I see a new light shining. I hear the angels cry. I hear the angels cry. They're just as real as you or me. I feel a butterfly gently land on my shoulder and perch itself and flutter its wings. I feel the butterfly fluttering butterfly wings. I feel a new light. I feel a new light inside of me. I feel a new light. I feel a new light. I feel a new light shine, shine on. Keep on shining. You crazy diamond, shine on me. Come on, shine on me. Keep on shining. Keep on shining. Keep on shining, shining, shining on me.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Jay.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm going to link to Jason's Bandcamp page. Make sure you check it out and give it a listen. Also, if you're on my YouTube channel, please subscribe and like this. You'll get notifications. I've got 3 shows next month. I've got a show coming up later this month with Shiloh Music, who is in the house still. So thank you for being there, Shiloh. Anyway, everybody, have a good night, and thank you so much for being here.